Hello everyone, this is Ron back with another flight with the DJI Mini 2 drone. We just got a firmware update recently on March 4th, and we're going to take it out for the first test flight. Okay, it's already asking us to do a compass calibration. This isn't, I didn't do this on my own. It asked for compass calibration, so we will follow the on-screen instructions and get our Mini calibrated. The calibration was successful. Okay, now we're gonna we did a firmware update, so sometimes it resets some of your stuff here. So we want to check things over here in the settings panel, and we're gonna lower that return to home altitude just a bit here because we don't have anything really tall around where we're flying today, and we're going to go down here and format the SD card. I don't remember the last time I flew this, so I'll see it. I've already got stuff off there before, so it's always good to format your memory card. Creates less problems. So let's do a auto takeoff here.
The home point has been updated.
Up we go. Here we're flying at sunset. Here's a little bit of low light here, but the Mini 2 is not bad in low light. So we're coming around, swinging around here towards with the drone's back to the sunset, and there I am down below, waving adieu to everybody out there, checking the video out. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the firmware number, down below here, at the bottom of the screen here, so you can copy that number down if you're wondering what firmware, I'm on at this point. And again, this is released on March 4th. And I think the big thing in the liner notes for this firmware upgrade was the drone now will have the ability during return to home, you will be able to yaw the drone around so that you could face a different direction. Before it would come back to you with the camera pointing at you, you had no ability to change that, but now you can move it around. Like say it's coming back to me and I want to see the sunset instead of seeing where I'm standing, and I can adjust it around. So let's do a Marcus Crawford style, up and out here, Mickey Morandini, our little manual droney here. So I'm standing on top of the dunes here in beautiful Margate City, New Jersey. You're seeing Atlantic City in the background there. We have some kind of low-hanging clouds that have a little bit of color in them there. So, it's a good-looking night here. As you can see in the screen here, I have my histogram up there, and the histogram is looking pretty good. We don't have it, to either side, to the extreme. On the left it would be too dark, and on the right it would be too bright and blowed out. So let's go down the beach here a little bit, check things out here. Here's the house along the shoreline here. Okay, I'm trying to change the modes here. It was just shooting in progress, unable to switch modes. So what I was trying to do is see where I was in. I didn't check that yet, but I was in 4K 30. That's where I want to be. But you cannot change that on the fly per se. You have to stop recording to make those changes, which I didn't make any change. I forgot to check what I was in before I took off. You should normally check what modes you're out. But I did check everything else. I'm flying in Class G here. No flight restrictions or anything. So we're 4K 30, so now we have our shutter speed at 160. So now we get the proper settings for getting the proper motion blur. We're using no ND filters here at this point. So the exposure looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. But of course we have our the back of the drone to the sun, so we'll see what happens when we turn it around here. Okay, so we're going to yaw around here towards the sunset, and as you can see there, where we're exposed. Now, if you're wondering what those black and white lines are, they call them zebras. They show what is overexposed in the video, and you can turn them on or off in the settings. But I have them on here, so we're very overexposed. So we're going to play with the iOS, but we were already at 100, which is where we wanted to be, so I can't do anything there. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to put that shutter a little higher than it should be just to get the proper exposure. So 1/20th. We're still kind of overexposed there, but you're always going to have some overexposure when you're aiming the camera at the sun. So we just want to get the right balance of iOS and shutter. So I think that looks pretty good. So we're kind of flying out, to the left, heading towards the ocean here, getting kind of like a pan of the Margate fishing pier there as the sunset's hitting it, and we got a little sun in the water there. So things are looking pretty good. I think this will turn out well in the finished video, and I'm going to tack the finished video on at the end of this screenshot so you can see how it turned out. Rather you just look at the screen recording now that I did with my iPhone 12 Pro. So here we're out here. The histogram, we have we have it a little high on both ends. It's got its places where it's too dark, and then the bright exposures putting the histogram up on the red a little high there. But all in all, not too bad. So while we're out here, let's get some photos out here. So it's just the photos. We're going to do auto exposure bracketing here, which means we're going to take 3 different exposures. We're going to take one at the flat exposure. Then we're going to do one plus 1/7 of a stop, and then minus 1/7 of a stop. So between those 3 footage, we should have one that's a proper exposure. So I usually adjust my EV back to 0. So when I'm doing these auto exposure bracketing, because it's going to cover enough on the over and the underside to balance it out. So you can take these 3 photos and actually turn them into an HDR in software like Lightroom, or it's another popular program that I always forget the name of, another HDR software that I always forget, but one by Luminar. But so now we're going to switch back to video again here. Go back to our 4K 30, and you see the zebras return there. So now we're going to start a recording again, because when you're done your photos, you have to remember the manually start the recording back up, or you won't get anything. So we're flying like towards that sunset here, flying parallel to the beach here and parallel to the sunset. And we do have our rule of 4/3. Uh-oh, we got a warning here. Strong wind warning, aircraft unable to return home automatically. Lower altitude. Okay, well, let's do what it says here. We're at 133 feet high. So we're bringing the thing down a little bit here. Now we're under 100 here. Right around about, bopping right around 100 here. So let's do let's do a return to home and get it back to us. We're not that far away. We're only a little over 1,100 feet away, but let's do a return to home. Here, and there's radar nearby. They're just kind of warnings that the Fly app puts up there for you, just that kind of education there. But we're doing a return home. See what's telling me the return home altitude should be higher than nearby buildings. We just talked about that already, at the beginning of this video. So it's going to be coming back to me soon here. And here, more of these, this training session here. Watch out for signal interference. So just things to be aware of. So we get the strong wind warning. Unfortunately, when I hit the return to home, it went higher up again. And, now it's back up where it's too windy. So I should not have hit the return to home because it raised it a little bit too high here. But, there you go. Look at that wind, or something's even playing with our gimbal there. It looks like we got the new DJI FPV drone at this point. Look at that. You don't often see that with the Mini, but it's wreaking havoc with the little Mini's gimbal here. I'm watching it. Of course, the thing's right in front of me now. I mean, the drone's flying perfectly. It's just the gimbal that's having that issue. So you can see the little radar thing that the drone is pretty level and was pretty level, but somehow the gimbal, must have got caught in a little bit of headwind. So now it's coming down to me here. Right over me, we're coming down. So we just canceled the return to home because we got plenty of battery life left, and we're back. We got it out of the high wind gusts that are probably up. It was about 130 feet when I got that wind warning. So we're just going to keep it under 100, and maybe we can avoid any of those wind warnings for the rest of the flight. It's not a extremely windy day. I checked check the air map and before you fly and everything, and the winds were fine, but must have been some gusts up there that caused the Mini a little problem. The Mini's not quite as good in the wind as bigger brothers like the Air 2 or the Mavic 2 Pro. So okay, I'm gonna go back here, try to get the sunset again, and get this get the exposure dialed in, locked in here. We're gonna go up here and check a few settings here. We want to make sure I had JPEG and RAW photos on here because I do want to get my RAWs. The Mini did not have RAW photo when it first came out, but now it does. So that allows you more room in post to edit the photos and kind of push add things around like color, saturation, exposure, to your liking in programs like Lightroom and Luminar AI or Luminar 4 from the good folks at Luminar. So and even create HDR photos with the Lightroom, and again, I'm sorry I can't remember Luminar's HDR program, which actually probably is a superior product. It was made in collaboration with Trey Ratcliffe, who more or less is the grandfather of HDR photography here. So we're gonna go out here over the ocean again. Here, the sun's quickly setting here. We're under 86 feet here, 88 feet. So we're close by. We're only like 640 feet away from us. So we're keeping it close. We just kind of want to go out there and get the right angle, get our photos as the sun's quickly descending over the horizon out there. Now we zoomed in a little bit here and see the 2x by the shutter button there, so we see if it looks better zoomed in. You can see the water tower. I think that's that may be the Longport water tower we're looking at here. And there's some of the high rises down at Margate there. That first one's Summer House. So we don't get the whole wide view of the pier here, but I kind of do like this shot here. So, and as you can see, I adjusted it in such a way. I moved the roll forward thirds up a little bit. And I got the the overexposure to be very minor up there. You only see a few zebras now, so just that slight tilt on the roll 4/3 upwards helped a lot there. Okay, so we're going to pop back in the video again here now. The sun looks like it is under the horizon now. We just kind of got a little bit of afterglow going on here, as I like to see, and you can see how the ground is all lost in the shadows now. The sky looks pretty good, but there we go. Now, +3, +7. Now we brought some detail back out in the ground again, where at 0, it was everything. The shadows were just like, had taken over everything, and you couldn't see anything. But now you can see a little detail on the ground, on the beach, on the buildings. So, okay, let's fly forward towards the pier and the sunset again. Again, moving that roll 4/3 up a little. We've cut down a lot on the overexposure warnings. Plus, the sun went down too, so that's helping also with the overexposure issues here. Look out the beach. You see a couple little puddles of water who came in, I guess, during high tide and got caught in there. So now we'll fly backwards here a little bit. This Mini's such a great little craft here. It flies great, handles great. I mean, the one con is it's not a good flyer in strong winds, but in moderate winds it's very good. And you can see how smooth it is flying out there, and starting to get a little too much altitude again here. It wasn't watching my altitude that close. So we'll probably get the wind warning popping up here in a second or so. But the gusts come and go, so maybe right now we're not hitting too many gusts. So we're at our settings of 4K 30. We're at auto settings with the EV pumped up to +03. So it's kind of hanging out here, catching the last rays of the sunset here. So yeah, and I'm going to do a return to home in a little while here, and when I do the return to home, we will yaw the camera around to show you that you're not locked into one direction as far as the camera facing, on the return to home like you are used to. Even in the Mavic 2 Pro, I flew that the other day. You cannot adjust when you're returning to home. You cannot adjust the way the camera faces. It points back at you. There's nothing you can do to face any other direction. So this little mini drone even has some features that its bigger brothers don't have in the DJI line of drones. So it's a pretty impressive little drone there. That's for sure. And I think it had two other things in notes, but mostly kind of bug fixes were the other two things that this firmware update did. So I mean, the Mini and the Air 2 have both gone through a pretty big array of firmware updates and app updates. In the months of February and early March here. So and some features been added. Okay, so here we're going to test our return to home.
Go home.
And when it comes back, you see in default thing, it's getting ready to return to home. There's those tips again, but it's going to come straight back to me. It's going to face me, but at some point here, I will change the yaw for you and show you that you don't have to have it look at you the whole way back like you did before this firmware update. So okay, we're coming in. We're just a little over 500 feet away. We got a low battery voltage here up there. We got we're down to 30%. Says we got 3 minutes and 38 seconds of air time left here, or scratch that here. Done 29. So anyhow, here we go. We're almost back here. Less than 100 feet away. We're up 251 feet in the air. So funny how we're not getting any of the wind warnings now, even though we're up pretty high on the auto return to home. It pops us up that high again to avoid buildings and high structures and power lines and all that sort of stuff that I don't really have to contend with on the beach because I'm flying from the top of the dunes, so landing. I'm still a good, a couple hundred feet away from all that stuff on the other side of the bulkhead here. Okay, so we're starting to come down now. Battery power restricted aircraft performance decreased. So yeah, we're down to 25% battery life here. And I think I'm flying the Mavic, the Mini 1 battery, which works in the Mini 2. So it's kind of a nice thing. Okay, here we go. Here it is. Now, even though we're in return to home, I'm able to yaw the camera around and look at that sunset rather than just look back at the direction I flew from. So that's pretty cool because we have a nice sunset going on there tonight. So why waste the camera on looking back at nothing really when you can capture that sunset on the way down. So I do really like that they've upgraded this drone to have the ability to change that yaw landing. On the way down. So we're almost down to the ground now. We're getting our battery to charge. We have landed, successfully landed once more. And I've picked the drone up here, and powering it off here. So that's the end of the flight, folks. I hope you enjoyed that flight today, and hope you can get out and try that firmware update if you have the Mini 2. If you don't have the Mini 2, I would advise maybe going out and getting one. It's a good little drone. And if you just want to watch, just the footage from the flight, if you have no interest in me talking here or talking about the firmware update, you can just skip right over to the next section. Just watch the video off the memory card of this flight. So okay, if you got anything on this video, hit that thumbs up button for us, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Ring that bell notification if you want to see more videos about the DJI Mini 2 and all the other DJI products and some other drones like the Autel Evo 2 and 2 Pro and the Scudio 2 drones, and we've got some other drones on the way. The DJI FPV drones coming out soon, as well as the hopefully the Firmware Mini will be coming out soon. Maybe even Autel Mini. Of course, everybody's waiting for that Mavic 3 coming out, later this year, hopefully this summer. So, okay. With that being said, I will see you on the next one.